name is Tatiana Koval, and this is podcast Happy at Work. Today in our podcast, we have a very important guest. I think it's one of the best international professional in employer branding, Eva Baluchova. Eva now is working in the company Danfoss. For me, is one of the leading company in the sphere of employer branding. Today, we will discuss how to build a global employer brand, how to manage this process, and also we'll discuss how to use the current trends, especially the very important trends for this, I think, next year, Employer Brand Ambassadors Program. Hi, Eva.
Hi, thank you for having me, Tatiana.
Eva, could you tell a little bit about you, your professional experience, and about your experience in Danfoss?
Sure, yeah. So personally, I am a 38-year-old Slovak lady who has made the Netherlands my home for maybe last 9 years. I'm coming from recruitment and acquisition background. I've been working in this field for over 13 years. I worked in agencies as consultant or in-house. Currently, I lead a global employer branding at Danfoss. I work on a wide range of projects from internal branding to external employer brand activation. Right now, one of the key focus areas is building a global employee advocacy program. And of course, helping our people share their voices in an authentic and impactful way. And another key priority, for example, is building a global employer branding strategy framework that works across different locations and different business segments. And we try to build it in a way that it's clear, adaptable, practical, beyond just a theoretical concept. And of course, I work a lot on value proposition and I have a lot of, core employer branding work, what is, improving candidate journey touchpoint. And I know personally, I always say you can connect me with the 4B, basketball, board games, books, and beers in the not particular order. So yeah, the little something about me now.
It's very, very interesting, especially about boarding games. I think maybe in the future, when any other people will meet you, could make a proposal for you to go to drink beer and play board games.
Combination.
I want to start from working with employer brand globally. What are the main challenges do you meet when you work with your employer brand globally in different countries, in different regions, in different cultures?
Yeah, that's a very tough question. There are definitely several challenges you get to face in a global role. So I think one of the biggest challenges is balancing the consistency with local relevance. Our global brand needs to be unified, but different regions have, unique culture, spiciness, different expectations, different talent markets, and as well different employee perceptions. So the message needs to be always localized, because what sometimes resonates with Europe might not work in Asia or the Americas. So that's, I think, the biggest challenge. And I can imagine every employer branding person in a global role has the same. I think another challenge, I would say, is as well related with the regional, global versus regional setup. And that's like the ensuring the buy-in from the local teams. Employer branding can't be just a global HQ initiative. It needs to be authentic and valuable at local level. So you always have to kind of fight for local engagement, local storytelling, adapting to culture sensitivity. So that's as well another challenge. And yeah, I think this is right now on top of my head.
I think what you're one of the effective manager of employer branding global team. And I want to ask you about your secrets. What helps you to engage at first the people from HR who are responsible for employer brand? And for other hand, what helps you to engage leaders on the particular markets? Because it's also important for the successful employer branding. Could you share your experience? And what could you recommend to other people who want to build a strong employer brand team globally?
Yeah. So I think first it's important to say that employer branding is not one person job. It works best when employees, recruiters, leaders, communication people are involved. So to scale employer branding globally, I tend to focus on, of course, employee advocacy, so empowering employees to share, and as well, not only to share, but as well gathering a lot of feedback and impact from them. Because without employee perception, you cannot really build authentic employer brand. Then I tend to focus on collaboration with the HR, TA, and communication teams. Um, this collaboration always amplify basically the message, and it helps you to implement employee branding cross employee experience initiatives. Um, I think like one of my maybe biggest successes when it comes to collaboration is to really focusing on building community. So instead of just like a managing an employer branding, I like to focus on creating a network of engaged stakeholders across different regions who can actually drive employer brand locally. And I think that's my main focus, to just have a strong community of stakeholders, keep the community engaged and running and always updating, ask for feedback, always listen to your audiences.
I know you as a person who who makes a lot of content and who share your experience and knowledge worldwide. Do you use knowledge exchange in your team? Maybe how do you build your community? Not only on the personal level, so they know you, but as a community, that means what you also people in community have connections between themselves, and maybe we also could share experience. Could you um, open some of your secrets about your global employer brand network in Danfoss?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if it's a secret, but let's say it's a secret. I treat everything as a marketing internally also. So that means that if I build a community, I'm treating it as a marketing channel. And everything what I do, I'm applying same strategies as I would be building community externally. So when you're building community, is you have to always give something, right, to the community. So I would create a channel where I can gather all the stakeholders in. I would have a communication strategy with every community I have. So I would make sure that updates are going constantly, that I'm giving, for example, some knowledge sharing, that I'm sharing insights, reports, data, that I'm asking for their opinions and feedback, for the consensus. And then I would be having as well community meetings with these people, which one you try to engage, where you try to engage stakeholders as well to speak and contribute. So I'm using all the marketing knowledge I have that I would be using externally. I'm using same strategies internally, just adapting some practices. So I think that's maybe, well, the secret.
I think it's also a secret because not all the people talk about community when we talk about manage any other people. This is, I think, different words means a different approach.
Sure.
I want to ask you maybe, could you share some important insights which you have maybe last year from your employer branding experience, from your community, because I think when you work with people from different countries, times to times you meet something what new for you, or maybe some ideas which you never have in mind, but your team could share with you and say, wow, it's a great idea. Do you have any this type of insights last year, or maybe some challenges which you overcome and now you could share with? Please pay attention to this.
Yeah, definitely. I just now really cannot come up with something on top of my head. Last year, we have been very busy with the building a employee advocacy program. So I can definitely share a lot of what's coming from that community, because I'm pretty busy in my head with that. So with the Danfoss Ambassador Program, we built a community within the first year with around 200 people. And we really didn't have, for example, any tools or any budget. And there we learn a lot about our employees and about their experiences with our brand, and about their struggles when it comes to social media or LinkedIn. And working with this community really taught me how creating a sense of belonging is important. And why I mean it, how I mean it is that in order, if you want community to thrive, you first need to create a trust and belonging, which actually then leads to the confidence and pride. And that leads to proactivity and loyalty. So that's basically my main mantra. So build a community, don't push too much on their activity. And that same I do with my coworkers, or when we're building as well working communities. Everything is first set up the stage, make sure everybody can trust each other, everybody belongs. You're building a confidence within the community, and then you're taking, giving and take, always giving and take. And for example, with ambassadors, having this approach was, I think, very successful. We got a lot of engagement, a lot of help, a lot of activity, just from creating a space, a safe space for our ambassadors. So I'm not sure actually if I really answer your question properly. Maybe ask me some other questions.
But I think it's very important about creating a safety and about psychological safety, because it's a way for innovation, for creativity, for new ideas. I have one question for you. You told what you have 200 ambassadors. Could you share a little bit about how did you create this ambassador program, employee advocacy program for your company, and your first steps? And lessons learned also from his first steps, because I know what now a lot of employer brand managers think about it globally in different countries, and all the experience are very useful for them.
Yeah, sure. Happy to share. So basically, when we have been first you always need to see like what kind of objectives you have for your company. So at Danfoss, it was that we wanted to increase our employer brand awareness in different locations and countries. While maybe in Denmark we are quite known, not in other countries of the world we are same known. So we wanted to change that. And then, as well as many companies, we didn't have dedicated resources or a budget to increase it through marketing channels. So basically, our only choice was to go for ambassadors, employee advocacy, which one I believe is the one tactics every employer should adopt. And basically how we started is that first we assess, and that is well tip to everybody, first assess whether you have at least some money. And why you need this money is basically, ideally you have something to have some social media distribution tool. There are many on the market. Not all of them are expensive. So ideally before you start, you have this tool. Now we didn't have it. So we started without tool. So we went on the hard way. We went through it hard way. So the second thing, which one you need to do when you're building employee advocacy, you have to choose what kind of ambassadors you want to involve. Like, what are the great employer brand ambassadors for you, for your company? Because it doesn't need to be necessarily a senior employee or best marketeer. For us, for example, the best ambassadors have been the ones that are passionate about their work, company culture, that they are willing to share their experiences on social media, and that are willing to be authentic and relatable, not polished and scripted. So uh, when you're building employee advocacy program, there are two approaches you can take. One approach is to take exclusive approach. So that really means you're going to handpick employees who are maybe already active on platforms like LinkedIn or internal forums or company events. These employees, will naturally engage and influence others. And then you have inclusive approach, and this allows any employee who is interested to join, regardless their background or seniority or network strength. And this is approach we chose because we wanted to focus on helping all employees shine, giving them tools, confidence to share their stories. And as well, the other advice related to this is you have to train employees very much, very well. And when I say training very well, I mean you need to get tangible with your training. You have to really share best practices, not just like a theory concept, high level messages. You need to teach employees to be content creators, because normal average employees, they are not posting for mostly because they are not confident, and they are not confident with their writings. They are not confident with maybe their face being on the picture. They are not confident with themselves. Like they don't feel like their stories are worthy of sharing. So your training need to fight these objections, and they need to convince them that they are interesting. And you cannot force participation. The key to any advocacy is to make it easy, meaningful, and rewarding for employees. Again, building a community where people feel supported and valued. And that's what builds naturally strong ambassador program, in my opinion. I think it's in a very short way.
Mhm. I have one question about your employee advocacy program. Usually, companies prefer to work from a center to any other ambassador. So it means the company produce some content and people use them sometimes
Yeah.
for adaptation. But I know that some companies also engage their ambassadors for creating content or for making adaptation, especially for the local markets or for the local languages. Because for global company, I understand what you produce all the content in English, but maybe ambassadors have their own page, not in English, but also in local language. What is your approach? Do you let your ambassadors create ideas, share the view, and adopt the ideas to the local markets? What is your approach?
Yeah.
And your recommendation?
So we have multiple content creation approach. So on the first, we are providing to our employees company content or evergreen content. So we building some content for our employees. Employees can choose it, and based on their voluntary needs, they can post it. We try to constantly improve our content production, so it's more relatable to our employees. Because at first, as well, like many employees don't want to post too much polished messages or too polished pictures. So we still providing them and still working on them to make it most relatable. On other hand, we are teaching employees to be their own content creators also. So we, for example, doing right now like a weekly personal story idea challenges, and basically every Monday we will send them a topic of the week. Let's say, what's your favorite book? We will give them about a few like a hook ideas, call to action ideas. We will give them a bit of copywriting formula they can follow. And then so we encourage them as well to create a personal stories. And then additionally, we're taking third approach on top of it is where we just starting with that. So I can only tell you what's our plan is to create a content contributor group. So we will basically invite marketing and TA people from different locations, different regions, to become our content contributors. Also, they can give us a content with the language they need, upload to our platform, and then employees within that region can reshare it in the language they need. So that's now the third step of our scaling. When we scaling the program, is actually localize the content. So we did the global content. We now personalizing content, and then eventually the third step is to allow the localization. With that, we believe that ambassadors will have a lot of options to post, not only one time a week, but maybe 3 times a week, where, maybe one, they go with our company content. Second time, they go with their own content, so with their values and beliefs and their own perspective. And third, maybe they will share something that is very localized on their market. So that's our goal. So we're trying to provide them a lot of ways of sharing. And this is the second year we are running it. So we're still learning from our own mistakes. We're still learning from our ambassadors' behaviors, posting behaviors. We're calibrating and improving. So yeah, still quite a lot of journey in front of us.
We have some questions on LinkedIn. So first question, I also want to ask you about it. What type of training do you think for your ambassadors? And do you usually provide them in-house or invite any people outside? Could you share the programs of training for your ambassadors, and which you could recommend to all and other companies?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's a very good question. So as I mentioned before, how we go about this towards our ambassadors is that we want to create independent individual content creators, and that's how we build as well the training. So our trainings is focusing on this topic. So first, we're teaching them why being ambassador is important for them. So we're really selling it to them, like, so what benefits it has to them, right? What personal branding is. That's a second topic. So what's personal branding is, what are the elements of the personal branding, how to build personal branding strategies, how to find your personal tone, voice, how to, for example, combine company voice with your own voice, because that's a common hassle. And we're trying to as well teach them how company content can actually contribute to their personal branding strategy. So that's a second topic we are training on. Third topic is really a copywriting. So copywriting formulas, how to write hooks, cliffhangers, call to action, how to comment on others' posts. So what are the copywriting principles they could use? The fourth topic we are teaching is a content creation, and we want to enable them to be authentic. So that means how they can create content with their phone, with maybe tools like Canva, how to make video compilation, how to do selfies, what are the good angles when it comes to taking pictures, what is a good picture and what is not so good pictures. And then fifth topic is a LinkedIn algorithm. So we are teaching them basically how LinkedIn works. So for example, how to not post external URLs, how to repost things, how to what times to post, what days, how to network, how to increase their social selling index. what are the elements of how LinkedIn basically assessing their profiles, and based on the strength of the profiles, the content is more visible. So we are basically teaching them all these tricks and tips. So yeah, these are, I think, the main 5 topics we are teaching it. And we started with the boot camp. So last year we had every month, it was 6-month boot camp, and every month we have been having a meeting where we teach them on each topic a month, and between they got like a homework to work on. That was last year when we had only 200 people. This year you need to scale because we are just onboarding another 200 people. So we created basically e-learning from all of these topics. We of course teaching them on social media basics, right? So that's maybe first thing you have to teach them. What are the social media policies? What are the social media recommendations from your company? We're teaching them what does it mean to be on brand. So if this is a Danfoss brand, and if you, let's say, here and there talking about Danfoss, this is, for example, recommendation how we want them to sound and feel, what kind of logos they can use, or how they can use the colors or fonts, etc. So yeah, so these are the main topics that we're training on. Right now, we're creating as well a lot of micro learning, so mini videos. I'm now working on e-learning that's about teaching them how to use tools like ChatGPT for actually writing their post, finding their personal branding strategies, brainstorming, finding the topics. So I try to enable as well the AI use. We have at Danfoss our own AI, so that the training is about how they can use that AI on their LinkedIn strategy or on their LinkedIn posting.
Do you usually use the internal expert, or sometimes you invite any other people outside company?
Can you please repeat?
Do you usually use internal experts from company, or also invite any other people outside for training?
Good question. So first year with the pilot, since we didn't have any money and any resources, we have been using me as an expert. So I think I have a solid knowledge. So we have been using me and all my knowledge and my colleague knowledge. So we have been 2 of us constantly, being nerdy, research it all ourselves, and then we basically share what we know with our group. But this year, where we have more resources, we are still using internal expertise, because at Danfoss, with 40,000 employees, there's a lot of experts. So we're using internal expertise the most. But additionally, right now, every month, we have guest speakers during our community meetings. We had Anna Bertoldini last month. This month, we have Christo, who is like expert on LinkedIn copywriting. And basically these guest speakers get around 30 minutes. We give them like a tangible topics. We give them questions that ambassadors had, and we let guest speakers to share. And then in the future, we want to have like a panels with successful ambassadors. So maybe the ambassadors that want to, I don't know, don't have yet confidence, maybe they are tired of me, constantly telling them why LinkedIn is important. We will give them the ambassadors that are already doing good as mentors, and teaching them further. So that's what mostly we go internally, of course, because of the budget and money. And these guest speakers that are coming to our company, they are doing it as a favor to me. They're doing it for free. So hopefully in the future we have more money, so I can maybe actually get some proper workshops to our ambassadors. But at the moment we are covering it all.
How a personal brand works. You could invite great people who really are ready to help you. We have one more question. This is about metrics. We mentioned it in the beginning when you told about employer brand awareness. And the question is, what are the top 3 metrics, what you follow in your employer brand strategy, and how you measure your success of your job?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We are setting up the metrics like kind of right now, but till now, so we have been not very structured about measuring the success. But what we have been measuring is, classical things like, so what's the traction towards our career website? What is our traction towards the job portal we have? What are the conversion things? So how many applicants we get from each source, and then you're looking at the conversion funnel, so how many applicants go to the next stages, what is the quality of applicants, and then you're comparing it with the sources. So do we have more quality candidates from LinkedIn or from career website or from recruitment marketing campaigns, etc. So we're looking, of course, about on this metrics. We look as well a lot on LinkedIn data that LinkedIn is providing us. So, for example, how many percent of employees are engaged with our brand? How many percent of non-employees within our industries are engaged with our brand? How many views we have on the LinkedIn live pages, on the jobs, on how many followers we have. To be honest, we are not completely crazy about data at Danfoss. We are, yeah, we are looking at them, but it's not that we are we're too much into.
You're not absolutely obsessed about data.
Not yet.
Yeah. But as I see, you have a really huge human touch in all what you do. It's
I believe of course you need to look at the data because they show you what you need to improve. But if you follow best practices, the data always will pull in. Like if you do employee advocacy, for example, correctly, if you're not treating it as a marketing channel, because once you're treating it as a marketing channel, you're done. It's not gonna work. But if you do things correctly with employer branding, you have write the job description, you have quite decent career website, you have quite decent employee profile, the data is always quite good enough. So I believe if you follow best practices for employer branding, you can be quite happy with the data or with the results it will bring. So I'm just, I don't know, more down to earth, I guess.
Mhm. Eva, I have 2 more questions for you from my side. My next question may be a little bit difficult, but I like it. It's about maybe mistakes in launching the employee advocacy program. Maybe you met in your personal experience, or maybe you see in other companies. I think it's very, very important to know the mistakes because it helps you to avoid them. What are maybe main mistakes or maybe unusual mistakes you made? Did you meet in your professional life, and you want to share and helps people don't make them?
Mistakes. I cannot really think of any mistakes because I can only think of things I could do better, but not necessarily mistakes. So are you thinking, are you asking me generally or regarding this specific program?
Generally.
Yeah, I mean, things I could definitely improve in the past. Jesus, you got me on with this question. Cannot come up with anything. It's not that we are perfect, by the way, but mistakes. I mean, in very, very past, I was doing the classical recruitment mistakes, like underestimating importance of specific messaging, writing overly jargon, corporate buzzword messages, didn't differentiate by the segment. those have been like mistakes, I would say. Uh, Spamming candidates, that was definitely a mistake. But it was really like many years back. Not communicating a lot with the stakeholders, that was often that I try to constantly improve. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing much. I mean, a lot of things to improve, but again, not very things in my head. Sorry.
That's so great. It means that means a high professional.
I don't know. I might have selective memory, you know. I might just like all the traumas from the mistakes. I might like push them more, you know.
Yeah, but which why I invited you, because I see what you have, one of the best program on the market, and you really do it good way. But for example, in my LinkedIn, I met some of your ambassadors. It was so pleasant for me to read what did they write. It was unusual from one side, but it was really effective and very, very interesting. Eva, my last questions for you, it's the usual questions for all of my guests. It's what are three main advice would you give to your colleagues worldwide? How to build employer brand globally the most effective way, and how to build employee advocacy program globally. Three main tips from your side.
Okay. Three main tips. So, okay. So, how I would motivate my colleagues to do employee advocacy, right? That's the question. Okay. So number one advice is make it easy. Provide employees with ready-to-use content, training, clear guidance, how to contribute. It cannot feel complicated and it cannot feel time-consuming, because otherwise they will not engage. And that's, by the way, one mistakes we did at the beginning with this employee advocacy. Now I'm reading it. Now I'm thinking of it. Okay, the second tip. Like, make it meaningful. Show employees the real impact they can have, the real impact their voice can have. But what we do is we showcasing our employees basically what each post they do, how much it has impact on our employer branding, or how much impact is on company culture, hiring. So that's a good thing. And third, I think advice to have a successful employee advocates is recognize and celebrate. So always genuinely value your employees and ambassadors. Give them a shout out, spotlights, feature them in the company content. I, for example, personally getting in touch with our ambassadors, especially those who put more effort. I try to personally thank them, listen to them, and I think that makes difference. And as well, yeah, the last advice, don't treat employee advocacy program as a marketing channel. That's a huge no. Advocacy only works when it's authentic, not forced. So yeah, that's, I think, the advices I would give.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. A lot of inspiration from meeting you. I think you're one of the person who in other companies could invite for inspiring the management of their people to become advocates of the company. Thanks a lot for sharing your knowledge. It's really, really important, I think, for a lot of people. Thank you a lot for participation in my podcast.
Yeah, happy to be part of it.
So thanks a lot. So this is podcast Happy at Work. And today we discussed a very, very interesting topic, how to build employer brand globally in an effective way and how to make a very effective and wonderful employee advocacy program with Eva Baluchova. Thanks.
Thank you again.